Welcome to Pocket Stories for English Learning. Get ready for daily, captivating stories that supercharge your English skills with lively voiceovers, vivid images, and easy-to-follow subtitles. Keep an eye out for pop-up vocabulary tips and stick around for our recall section at the end. Let's jump into today's tale and make learning exciting.
In the bustling city of Manila, where the streets were always teeming with life, lived a hardworking man named Carlos. Carlos was a dedicated father and a loving husband. Every day, he navigated the chaotic traffic to reach his job at a local construction company. His world revolved around his family, his wife, Maria, and their two young children, Luis and Isabella. One fateful evening, as Carlos was driving home from work, a sense of foreboding filled the air. The sky was darkening with heavy clouds, and the first drops of rain began to fall. Carlos knew he had to drive carefully, as the roads could become slippery and dangerous. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, a group of young men were leaving a bar. They had been drinking heavily, celebrating a friend's birthday. Among them was Juan, a notorious risk-taker who often drove recklessly. Despite his friend's protests, Juan insisted on driving home. As Carlos approached an intersection, he noticed a car speeding towards him, swerving erratically. His heart raced as he realized the car was not slowing down. In a split second, the car crashed into Carlos's vehicle with a deafening impact. The force of the collision sent both cars spinning, leaving a trail of shattered glass and twisted metal. Bystanders rushed to the scene, calling for emergency services. Within minutes, the wail of sirens filled the air as ambulances and police cars arrived. Paramedics worked swiftly to extricate Carlos from the wreckage, stabilizing him before rushing him to the nearest hospital. In the emergency room, doctors and nurses sprang into action. Carlos was in critical condition, with severe injuries to his head and chest. He was immediately taken to the intensive care unit, ICU, where a team of specialists fought to save his life. Maria, who had been at home preparing dinner, received the devastating news from a police officer at her door. At the hospital, Maria was met by a compassionate nurse who guided her to the waiting area outside the ICU. "Your husband is in good hands," the nurse reassured her. "The doctors are doing everything they can." Hours turned into days as Carlos remained unconscious, hooked up to machines that monitored his vital signs. Maria never left his side, praying for his recovery. Friends and family visited, offering support and comfort during the agonizing wait. Meanwhile, the police launched an investigation into the accident. Officer Reyes, a seasoned detective, led the inquiry. Witnesses provided statements about the erratic driving they had seen, and the police soon discovered that Juan had been driving under the influence of alcohol. The breathalyzer test confirmed that his blood alcohol level was well above the legal limit. Juan was arrested and charged with negligent driving and driving under the influence, DUI. The news spread quickly, sparking outrage in the community. People demanded stricter enforcement of drink driving laws to prevent such tragedies from happening again. Days later, Carlos began to show signs of improvement. He regained consciousness, but the road to recovery was long and arduous. Physical therapy, numerous surgeries, and emotional healing were all part of the journey ahead. Throughout it all, Maria remained his pillar of strength, encouraging him and reminding him of the love that surrounded him. As the court date approached, Carlos and Maria faced Juan in the courtroom. The atmosphere was tense, filled with a mix of anger and sorrow. Juan, visibly remorseful, expressed his deep regret for his actions. He apologized to Carlos and his family, tears streaming down his face. The judge, acknowledging the severity of the crime, sentenced Juan to prison time and community service. He also mandated that Juan attend rehabilitation and educational programs on the dangers of drink driving. The verdict brought a sense of closure, but the pain and loss were still palpable. Despite the tragedy, Carlos's story became a beacon of hope and resilience in the community. The local government launched a campaign to raise awareness about the dangers of negligent driving and the importance of responsible behavior on the roads. Carlos, now a survivor and advocate, spoke at schools and community centers, sharing his story to prevent others from experiencing the same fate. Through his journey, Carlos discovered a new purpose. His family, though scarred by the tragedy, grew closer and stronger. The community, united by a shared desire to make the roads safer, work together to support those affected by accidents and to honor the memories of those lost. In the end, Carlos's resilience and the love of his family turned a tragic accident into a powerful message of hope, healing, and the importance of making responsible choices.
Let's dive into our recap of today's important words and phrases. Important words. First, foreboding means a sense that something bad is going to happen. For example, the dark clouds gave a feeling of foreboding about the storm. Erratically describes something done in an irregular or unpredictable way, like the car moved erratically, weaving between lanes. Collision is an instance where two moving objects or people strike each other violently. For instance, the collision between the two cars caused significant damage. Extricate means to free someone or something from a constraint or difficulty. Imagine they worked hard to extricate the car from the mud. Stabilizing refers to making something unlikely to change or fail. For example, the team focused on stabilizing the situation before proceeding. Intensive Care Unit (ICU) is a hospital department that provides intensive treatment and monitoring for severe cases. Think, the patient was admitted to the ICU for closer observation. Critical condition means a state where someone's health is unstable and at high risk. For example, the accident victim was in critical condition. Compassionate describes showing sympathy and concern for others, like the nurse was compassionate, providing comfort to the patients. Vital signs are the key body functions measured to assess health, such as heartbeat and breathing rate. For instance, the doctor checked her vital signs regularly. Arduous means requiring strenuous effort and being difficult and tiring. For example, the hike was arduous, but the view from the top was worth it. Negligent describes failing to take proper care in doing something. Imagine the driver was found negligent for not paying attention. Driving under the influence, DUI, refers to operating a vehicle while affected by alcohol or drugs, like he was arrested for DUI after failing a sobriety test. Remorseful means feeling or expressing regret for wrongdoing. For example, he felt remorseful after realizing his mistake. Pillar of strength describes a person who is a reliable and strong support in times of need. Think, she was a pillar of strength for her family during the crisis. Palpable means so intense that it almost feels tangible. For instance, the tension in the room was palpable as the results were announced. Now let's cover our phrasal verbs. Rush to means to hurry to a place or person. For example, they rushed to the hospital after hearing the news. Spring into action means to quickly start doing something, like the team sprang into action as soon as the alarm went off. Hook up to describes connecting a person or machine to something. Imagine the patient was hooked up to the monitors for observation. Turn into means to become something different. For instance, the mild drizzle turned into a heavy rainstorm. Launch an investigation means to start a formal inquiry. Think, the authorities launched an investigation into the incident. Face someone means to confront or deal with a person. For example, he had to face his manager after missing the deadline. Finally, our idioms. Heart racing describes feeling very excited or nervous, like her heart was racing as she awaited the results. Tense atmosphere means a feeling of nervousness or unease. For instance, there was a tense atmosphere in the room before the announcement. Beacon of hope refers to something that gives hope or encouragement. For example, her support was a beacon of hope during tough times. Pillar of strength is someone who provides strong support and comfort. Think, he was a pillar of strength for his friends in need.
Thanks for joining us on this fun language adventure. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Pocket Stories for English Learning. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for your daily fix of stories and vocabulary boosts. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. For the episode transcription, click the link in the description to download it as a PDF. Catch you in the next episode with another exciting tale. Happy learning.